Hey, what's up, guys? This is Netta with Inner Peace with Netta. In today's video, I wanted to tell about myself. So, and my journey. So, my name is Janetta, and I've been on this spiritual journey since 2012. So, in 2012, I went through. Now that I look at it, it was just a catalyst. It wasn't really like. It could have been worse, and I'm grateful. Like, I had to move out of my Nana old house, or my old house, because I rocked with it, for like 7 years. And I was in a relationship that was trying to teach me self-love and self-respect, and that just went down the drain and went through something else. It was just a whole lot. And my higher conscious, my higher self was like, nah, you need to awaken, my child, because you are doing too much and it's time to wake up. But a little about my background, like, how do I start this? Well, to get to 2012, and I talk about this in previous videos, like, because that's not my story anymore. Like, I had the sexual trauma when I was a child, and abandonment issues then, and that was my past. And I had to learn to love myself, have self-respect, self-worth, but also love my parents for who they were and accept them as who they were, and establish boundaries and own my power, because that's where that sexual trauma came in. And with my parents, the whole abandonment issues that were in the past, and the powerlessness, that went on until adulthood to a certain extent. Like, I was living by other people's expectations and unauthentic expectations for myself. And it just sent me to where I was suppressing and repressing my emotions, which I had did since childhood, where I felt like I didn't have a voice. So I used to just shut down. So now I'm numb. Now I'm numb and angry inside, but guess what? I'm going to swallow it. And then when you come towards me, I'm going to be defensive. I had all these personalities and defense mechanisms that I had to mask myself. And then me not wanting to show my sensitivity, I just put on a mask. I used to be like so grim-faced. Like, you could be like, oh, my feelings is hurt, and I'd be like, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, all day. Not saying that I never show emotion, but in relationships when I was a young teen or earlier, in my early 20s, I just was so emotionally immature, like, because I didn't want to get my feelings hurt. Not realizing Earth is your spiritual playground to, grow. And you have to be in relationships and look at other people's perceptions and perspective, because it's not all about you. But I understood that it wasn't all about me, but I just had a whole lot of thoughts and programming that I had to release, because I didn't know myself. I didn't know what life was about. Not saying I wasn't ambitious and didn't have goals and, wanted to go to school. I'm a student at heart and a servant at heart, but when it comes to learning in school, I love it. Put myself through college, still in college, and, just I prided myself on being independent. Because at a young age, from the time I was like 17 when I moved with my Nana, my father's mother, out of my mother's house, because I signed myself out of school because I didn't want to be in my mother's house. We weren't, it was just so much. I just had so much animosity. I was just angry in the household. I didn't want to live there. I didn't want to be there. In that state, at 16, you could sign yourself out of school. And that next year, I did a year there. Then I moved back to New York. I remember I came home. I was like, yeah, so I'm moving back to New York because I signed myself out of school, so I'm going to go live with my Nana. And I already asked her, and she already said yes. I remember that, right? And my mother was just like, okay, because I was running away in the past. It was just like so much, and I didn't want to be there at that time. And I went from there to my Nana house to where I turned 35 overnight, because within 2 weeks of staying with her, and I went to the doctor with her, and she was older. She was 83, walking with a cane. Didn't even know she was 83 because she ain't look it, but back to the story. Finding out she had cancer. She knew. So she was getting sick. It was just, she had told me, she was telling us she wasn't feeling too well. But she knew she had cancer and she didn't tell nobody. So my father, he's incarcerated, and so he couldn't do nothing. And I didn't really have a relationship with him because he's been incarcerated for most of my life. And so now I'm dealing with him. He was worried, his mom, she's sick. And eventually we found out, she's dying. And it was just like a big blow. Boom. I was just like, okay. But I put on my armor like, we got this. Whatever she need, whatever. So about 2 weeks, after the 2 weeks, I found out about 2 weeks later, her mobility of her body was just shutting down. She had a stroke, and after we took her to the hospital, she never came back home. So she was in and out of rehab in the hospital. There was just so much going on. And I was power of attorney and all this other stuff. And then I had my father in my ear, had my mother, and everybody just trying to tell me what to do. And I'm just trying to do what was best for her. And it was just a lot. It was a lot. I was trying to respect her son, my dad, and then try to be a teenager, but I was no longer a teenager. And trying to emotionally process that, but I wasn't able to process my emotions because I used to look for validation outside myself, and I never felt like I was able to speak my mind, because it was always like, oh, you can't feel like that, oh no, that's not true, be seen, not heard type stuff. And I would just shut down and then be defensive, because now I want to hear nothing you say. I don't care if you crying. You told me I hurt your feelings. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Like, that was my attitude, because, so I was very emotionally immature. So now I'm attracting these people who are the same, or we either had that trauma, we attracting the same trauma, or whether it was the sexual trauma, abandonment, or just being the sensitivity and not being able to speak up, or powerlessness, and you feel like you got to control everything. And it was just a lot. And so in 2012, I had to move out my Nana house, and now me and my father was beefing and things like that. And I brought it on myself. I played my part in that as well. And I was hurt. It was just a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just like, I prayed. I remember praying earlier, the idea like, I want to leave. I want to leave. I want to move out. I don't want to be in this house because it wasn't in my name. And I didn't have no control. I was powerless. So, then at that moment, I couldn't understand why things was happening the way it was. Like, I was embarrassed after, people was talking about me, saying little things. And it was just, my self-esteem was low. I didn't know what self-love was. I didn't know what that was. I'm thinking, oh, I love myself. If somebody would have asked me, do you love yourself? You ask the average person that now, and they'd be like, oh, yeah. Do you really know and exude that energy? And I wasn't. And from 2012, it was just like, I was at this stage, because in 2012, before I had to move out and stuff, I was getting angry. So now I'm speaking up. I'm getting pissed, and in relationships with family and friends, and they like, we don't like this new you. And I'm like, F you. It's just so egoic, and I was just angry. The inner child was coming out. She was lashing out like, F you, F you, F you. I don't care about you. I'm doing me. Like, that was what I was on. Then when I left out, and I remember just feeling low, because now I felt like I had to move with the ex-boyfriend that I was with at that time. And I just felt like I was powerless. Now I'm in somebody else's domain, and I don't have no control. So now I gotta live by their rules. It was just a lot that I was feeling, And so I went to my mother's house, but I didn't really want to be there. I didn't want to move out of state of New York at that time. I was just like, no, I didn't have a job at the time. I was just like, oh no. I was just like, I'm broke. That was then. I just felt like being broke and didn't have nothing. I felt like I didn't have nothing to show for. I didn't feel accomplished. I didn't acknowledge anything I did with my Nana. Like, I just felt like that was a given. Now I can acknowledge myself for it, but still deep in my heart, I just felt like nobody had to ask me to help her out. Like, that's just not something that I would have to think about. That's not something that I would second guess or, no. That just needed to be done, and I was the only one who was going to do it, and I loved her. That was like out of pure love that I was going to be there for her. But I didn't look at all those things. I didn't look at how I turned into what you would call adulting, in this society at 17 and taking care of myself. And even after my Nana died, I stayed in the co-op that we lived in for 7 years and struggled, went through a whole bunch of stuff in that house, and it was just time for me to go. I needed something new, and it wasn't mine. It wasn't left to me. It wasn't mine. And so I had to leave. And it all happened in divine order. Because if I'd never left, I would probably still be there with that mindset that I had. So everything I had to look like, everything happened for a reason, and everything was shifting for me. So at the end of 2012, 2013, I started learning more, on subconscious, conscious mind, Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard, some things I wasn't understanding, learning about ancient Kemet, just all these things. I went from the Black Power movement and empowerment to hating other races to, it was just me peeling back the layers and getting angry and like trying to take a stand and saying conspiracy theories in the government, and And now I'm at a space to where it's like everything outside of you, it's from within you. And you are responsible, for your life. But as well, with me doing the healing of just certain aspects of my life, I had to realize I was making it a to-do list and then got stuck in this healing, then wasn't really turning the mirror to me, but then was doing all this, using crystals and, just got stuck in a higher, in my higher upper chakras, and just was in the spiritual realm, and I wasn't really focused and present here because I didn't want to be here. And for a long time, I wasn't present in my life because I didn't want to be where I was. And I was trying to find a part of me, a lot. I felt like a lot of me was lost and was taken from me, especially during like the sexual trauma and suppressing and repressing that. And I felt like I lost my voice. I just felt like I lost myself, but didn't even know who I was, and realizing that I used to think that God was outside of myself, or, divine consciousness, not realizing that's all within you. You're not separate. There's no separation. That is your higher self. That is the essence that knows and does everything for your highest good and looks at you in a higher, not your ego. That's your higher self, not your ego. And I didn't understand that, I was trying to follow religion and really not understanding that. Wasn't really saying nothing, just saying, okay, you go to church, you pray. And to be honest, I never really looked at things as heaven and hell. It just didn't resonate with me. And I was just like, this can't be life. This, like Jay-Z song, I love music. So I could relate a song to every chapter of my life. But Jay-Z song, This Can't Be Life, featuring Beanie Siegel and Scarface, oh my gosh. I had that song on repeat, like, this can't be life. This cannot be my life at all. This cannot be my life. I hated myself so much, and I hated my life so much. I was thankful for what I had, but it's not that I hated the material things. It was something inside me, and my soul was like, yeah, you're missing because you're out of alignment. You don't know who you are. And like I said, I went through the healing phase. And, after I moved out, I finally had like a federal job, went through sleeping on people's floors to renting rooms and into my own apartment. Like, that to me was just a challenge and a struggle, because at that time living in other people's spaces, and I was so used to living on my own and doing what I wanted to do at an early age, and not having to deal with other people in their drama. Drama to me, I just try to run away from. I was scared to rock the boat sometimes, but I was rocking boats then. And I was rocking boats then. And I just said, you know what, I wanted to feel accomplished. I needed my apartment. Because I used to say, God bless the child that has its own, like, program. And me trying to collect material things, and it it wasn't like I didn't want to share. I just felt like having money, having a lot of money, and being able to do what you wanted to do, how you wanted to do, that financial freedom. And I don't find anything wrong with money or financial freedom, right? But that's not what we came here to do or to gain. When we assist one another, all those riches from within is going to exude out. So you have that financial freedom. But I was doing it outside in, trying to fill holes with them because I was hella insecure, didn't love myself. I was just surviving, and I wanted to thrive, and I didn't understand that. You know, people are, oh, go to college, get that degree, Miss Independent, you know, Neo, that was my song. But not saying that I didn't want to be in a relationship and stuff like that, but that whole controlling thing, I just was like, or feeling powerless, I always was like, no, I have to make sure that I'm good. I'm not dependent on anyone. And that's where I was so prideful that I was scared to ask for help. And I wasn't asking for help. Like, I had issues with asking for people for help. One, because you're not going to talk about me, program. Two, I don't want to look like a failure, program. Three, you're not going to throw it in my face, which happened to me, but program. And so what? You throw it in my face? Whatever. That has everything to do with them. And four, it just made me feel and look weak then. And I just had a lot to unpeel and uncover, not realizing everybody needs help. I don't care who it is. Everybody at one time in their life needed help. And it's good to help one another. And I look back at that because my Nana needed help. And she was very independent, even though, you know, she had a husband and a son, and in her life she was very independent. And she was the rock for her family for many years, and with her siblings, she was so prideful that she wouldn't tell anyone that she needed help. And because she felt powerless, you know, and that came up for me recently because I had a situation to where I felt powerless last year. And I actually wrote an article about my Nana, and it just, you know, it brought up things to where I'm like, oh, okay. I see where, like, the lessons in my life, everything is just unfolding. And, you know, in my journey now, I'm being more patient with myself. And I had to learn to be compassionate with myself because I was like a drill sergeant. It was like, get it done now. You should be, if all that was programmed. And I had to just keep stripping myself. I was just so mean to myself. I was just so mean to myself. Like, I would tear down my self-esteem, and I didn't have the compassion. So when I was in relationships with other people, I was kind of like, I don't really hear like, oh, you're mean. Maybe in relationships in the past, I heard I was mean. I was defensive. Very defensive. Very defensive. And because I didn't like being attacked, and I didn't know how to communicate then. You know, the things I wanted to say out my mouth to the other person, I was scared to say because I didn't want to hurt them. So I'm sitting here suppressing and don't want to lose people, you know, in relationships and friendships when I should have just said it. But like I said then, I didn't know. And I can laugh at everything now because now I'm at a space in my life where 2 years ago, I quit my job to start my business. It was just like, I was tired. I was tired of that job. I made, money. It helped me. I was grateful for it. But then now it's a new chapter in my life because now I'm not climbing up nobody's corporate ladder. Like, that's not what I wanted to do. And, now I'm learning more on this spiritual journey. But now I was making that spiritual journey a to-do list. And the things that I was learning, I was just like, oh, this is how life is. Oh, you're right, you're wrong. I was just making everything black and white. When I realized, we're all one. But we're everything together. We're all one and we're all connected. We're everything. You're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, all that. Everyone. We probably was every race. And I mean color. Because it's just the human race. And that's just my perspective. In different lives. And that's my perspective as well. I swear that we had past lives. And that's from my own experience in my life. So I definitely had to learn to honor other people's perception and perspectives. But don't always make myself wrong. Even if I may not be right. That does not mean, oh, I'm wrong and you're right. That's your perception and your perspective. And my perception and perspective, but I'm actually open into listening to what you have to say because I'm learning from you, even when you challenge me. And I had to learn to forgive and let go because dragging all of that stuff with you, I could tell you 5 keys now. Self-love, unconditional self-love, because that is your foundation, right? For loving other people unconditionally and understanding them. And love does not mean you are blind, dumb, deaf, and stupid. You keep your heart open even when you've been wounded. Because when people hurt you, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So, forgiveness. Forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. If I could say it again, forgiveness. And I will say it a million more times. Forgiveness, because it's for you. And it relieves a lot off your body. And I can tell you about that because I used to have like backaches and forgiveness in my womb as well. And getting rid of like candida in my body. It just, when you have emotional trauma and in your body and all this emotional energy stuck in your body, it creates disease in your dis-ease in your body. So you have to release it. So if you having backaches, your teeth, your nails, your hair, all that, your body is trying to tell you something. So I said self-love, forgiveness, or unconditional love, forgiveness, gratitude. Just be thankful. Even when you're pissed off, be thankful. Just be thankful that you pissed off so that you could evaluate those emotions to see where they're leading you or what they're teaching you. Just gratitude all the time. Compassion. We have to be compassionate. Compassion, compassion, compassion towards yourself and others. And everything that I'm saying, you have to give it towards yourself. Because you are the foundation. Your vessel, your soul is the foundation to exude all of that energy outward. Kindness, compassion. Oh, yeah, kindness. Or empathy. Well, I can consider that with compassion. But, and be kind. Like, there's no reason you getting up and you just cursing people out because you mad for no reason. And it may happen. But just being nasty to people for no reason, like, choose to be kind and treat yourself kind. Most people who aren't kind to themselves. And I'm talking about people who are habitually, they wake up mad, they go outside mad, always complaining, eyeballing people, twitching their face, always cussing somebody because they just mad. And they're not being kind to themselves. So it doesn't have anything to do with you. And they're suffering within, So to have that, and I'm getting back into my writing as I automatic write, but also inspirational writing down my feelings, my fears, so that I can work through them. Because to see it, some people don't like writing. I don't mind writing. I like to write. And to journal. Journaling on my journey has been good because it's making me more aware. I've been aware, even though I be knowing a lot, and I just don't listen a lot of times. And that's another thing. Listen. On this journey, listen. Don't listen to your ego. Listen to your higher self, and you will know. You will know it in your body. You will just know. Your intuition, your higher self, your divine consciousness is speaking to you. And yeah, so back to what I was saying. I think that I was saying I left my old job to start my business, and I just had a bunch of insecurities, and I was just trying to find myself and make my mark. And now here I am. I created a coaching business, and now I'm doing other things, and now I have the YouTube and I have the podcast, and I need to take my time. But I was also rushing. Keep it 100. I was rushing. I was trying to do everything. Keep my hands in everything. Because I got to take care of myself. I don't want to look like an ass in front of people because I left my job. And then I'm not making the money. And it was just, I was so focused on the money when I really wanted to focus on helping people. And that got me messed up. And the intention of my heart was to, of course, help people like the dream. And the divine was, my higher self is telling me, like, Janetta, you got to take care of yourself and you need to go within. So doing shadow work. Because at one point I was spiritual bypassing, like, love and light, And there's nothing wrong with the light, love and light, but you got to go through the darkness to get to the light. Like, you have to go through your own shit and sit in your shit and look at where you standing in your own way. What do you love to do? I couldn't stand that question because sometimes I couldn't answer it. But I learned I love to write. I love to cook because I love to eat. But I love to cook, like it's therapy. I love to write, it's therapy. I like to speak, it's therapy. What else do you like to do? I love music, it's therapy. So what can I do with that? I'm going to create something in my life that I like to do. I'm learning new skills. Yoga. What can I do with yoga? A whole lot. What can I do with writing, cooking, music? A whole lot. Coaching. I love to help people. How can I help people uplift in themselves and empower themselves to be their best selves? And that starts with me. How can I assist people with aligning with themselves with divine consciousness? That's the inner work that they have to do. The only thing I can do is lead the way by leading my life. And that is not what I really wanted to say just now. I just said a whole bunch of words. By leading the way and by being a living example in my life. So, and just being myself. And what I've learned in this journey is, instead of saying, I want to be a writer or I want to be a musician, then just be it. Just be it. Just do what you have to do to be that. Because you are that. We are all connected. All of this, our life and reality is just a projection. It's all consciousness. Consciousness is nothingness. So we can create out of the void. So now that we are in this pandemic, it's not really a pandemic, and I say that because and I definitely honor and respect the people that has passed and people who are in the front lines. But we need to look at this from a higher space and not low vibrational. This is a time to where we can create a new reality. All that suffering and crises and things that's going on, the racism, the social justice system, the government, all that. We are the people, we have the power. If you want to go back to the humanness, we do. We do. But spiritually, we can form anything we want. So won't we do the inner work to become the best version of ourselves for our highest good and the highest good of others, and assist one another and do things that's going to be the betterment of humanity instead of being selfish. And a lot of people are selfish and don't realize it, or are selfish because they've been hurt and it's a wound and that just needs to be healed. But they have to understand that they're responsible for that healing, but still moving forward. So yeah, I'm in this space of my life to where I'm creating my new story and living my story, my new story. So yeah, that was just a little bit about me. Yeah. So also, I'm working on a new project, but it's gonna be more of like a group, you know, with like art. So I will announce it very soon, and like soon. And all of my subscribers and listeners, look out for that video because I'm about to launch something. But yeah, so this is just a little bit about me. And also I wanted to say, now in this time where I am at, I have a different relationship with my parents, with my mom. Like my mother told me, like, I taught her how to love herself. You know, things like that. But I still learn a lot from my moms, you know. And I had to look at it. Like, I always was trying to make her wrong when I was younger, you know. But no, she wasn't always wrong, you know. And I had to look at things to why she was the way she was, or why she did the same way. I had to, and do introspection, I had to just put my foot in her shoes. And the same thing went for my dad. So I have definitely healthy relationships with both of my parents, having these boundaries, and with other people as well, you know. So, and yeah, so I love you guys, and make sure y'all subscribe to my IG at Inner Peace with Netta, and check out my blog at innerpeacewithnetta.wordpress.com. And peace, like, share, and subscribe.